Everybody, get in this video talking about database and how you could create database and how we could create tables in the database. So first of all, to get started, I would give you imagine what I'm doing in this video and number of videos. What I want to do simple table having a number of username and password. If someone click adding username and password, register, saving, then I could edit this users, I could delete users, also I could list my user and list view. So I just this layout giving you a blueprint what I will do next. So in this video only I will create database and create tables that I needed. So if you remember the previous video, we create one database and we added one table inside the database. So I will start here, get a new table. I will name it DB manager. Let me name it this name, and by the end I will add this class in GitHub. You will get benefit from it. Let me say this is my main class that manage my application. Let me create constructor in this class, receiving context. For sure I will need context, so let me receive it here. So I would use it, I may use it in my application. So here you go, that's my constructor. What I want to do, I want to a great number of methods for add, delete, update. I will do it next, but now I want just create table and everything. So to create table on the database, I have to define my database name. So let me say, okay, static string. Why static? Because maybe I have more number of version from the database manager, so I don't want to share same thing to do something to repeat the table name in many databases. That's necessary. So I would say static db name. Let me name it db name in this way. Let me name it students. This is my database. Okay, that's great. Then let me I name it final because I will not change this value never, because this is name will never change. I will define also db table name. Let me give it logins for information for logins. So for logins, I may have two column. So one for so I say column for user name. I would add here user name, and I would add here is also column for password. Why I use this convention? Because you will see it next. It make your life very easy. Password. Okay, I just define my field. I define which database name, which table I have it, and what the field, the column name in the table. So you may have different convention, you may have different way to write your codes, depend on your work, whatever you prefer. But this what I'm doing now is the standard that Google use it. So also I would define static final for database version. So I would say, okay, public is static, so integer. I would say db version, the version for the database. Let me give it now version of 1. That's mean now I have 1. Maybe next I will update database. I will add version 2, version 3, version 4. And then we will continue. Now let's come through most important. So in SQL, if you want to create a table, we say create table. The table name will be, for example, what we want to be. You want to be logins. This logins has number of field. ID will be integer. Will be the primary key, and it's auto increment, and I have another field for user name, and maybe convention will be user name will be text, and have another field will be for password, also will be text. So this is how you would write it in text statement. You say create table name, you give it a 3 field. Now I want to write it as a variable. I will say, okay, static final string create table. I name the create table. I'll say create table, the table name. Then I have number of ID is integer, primary key, then column name, that's be username will be text, and column name password will be text. Just making sure I having some spaces so I will not have any problem when I create the tables. Yes, here we go. Now I create table. Now everything is good. Now let me talk about how to implement the database. So to implement database, I will define a static class. Why static class? Because I need one version of this class for all my instances from DB Manager. I will define static class. I will name it database helper. I will say database helper user. It will be extend database helper. Database. Then the class name it SQL open helper. If I open a bracket, he say, hey, you want to extend a class will talk with SQLite, but if you see, you need to implement some method. Let me say what method I need to implement. Click here, he say, okay, you need to implement onCreate and upgrade. I will click, he will implement this two method. I will talk about this two method. Before working with this two method, I need to create my database. So I have to define my constructor. So I would say, okay, I have constructor. This constructor will receive context, and the context will be context in this way. And here you go. Here I want to create my database. So to create my database, I have to call the super. Super mean the origin class. This means this class. So what I have to pass to this super? First, I have to pass context that I will receive it. Then second, I want to pass the database name, DB name. Then I will pass also the database version. So what this method will do for us? Imagine, when you create an instance from this class, this method will be already called. This method will pass this parameter, the database name and database version, to the origin class for SQLite. This class will check if this database already available. That's okay, he will not do anything. If the database is not available, so he will create database, then after he create database, he will call this method. So this method will call one times. Only when the database is not created, he will create database and then he will call this method. So I could execute statement. I will say, okay, when he create database, please create table for me. I will say db.execute SQL. I could execute any SQL. I want to create table after creating database. Here you go, create table. But I don't want to create table every time. I want to create table only one time, only if not exist. I will say, okay, create table here if not exist. So I will say if not exists in this way. Exists in this way. So if tables not exist, please create this table for me. Now, yes, everything good. What about upgrade? What if someone do upgrade in his database? That's okay. I will say, okay, db dot execute SQL. If someone do upgrade, first thing I need to drop my database. I will say, okay, drop table. Then what's the table name? If exists, I will not drop table does not exist. So if the table exists, drop it. What the table name I want to drop? I want to drop this table, table name login. So I drop table, name it login. So if this table exists, please drop it, then call on create to create the new version that I have it. I would pass db. That's good. So again, when the database is not created, this one when called for first time, he will check if there's database not created. Yes, create the database, then call this method to create the table for you. That's good. If database, if someone update the version of the database, he will see, okay, the database is created, but someone update the version. Let me go here and drop the old tables and let me create new tables, because you may want to update this table while you are working. So while you are working, you need to update this table some information, but when you run it, will not update it because you say if not exists, but the table already exists. So you need to change the version whenever you want to update the table when you in the development time, but when you upload it, change it to one back again. Yes, now you understand how this one working. So I would say here when database is created, I would just say to us.make text just to show you. I would pass context. Now I cannot get application context. Yeah, I cannot access to the context. I could make it public here. I would say context in this way, and just initialize this one after. I would say this dot context equal local context, because I need to display a message. I would say, okay, database is created or table is created. Then I would say to us dot then I will show it for you. It's a little bit confusing, but you will understand the database more. Could we say table is created? Table is created. Yes, that's good. Now a table is dropped if someone dropped the table. That's good. Now I want to call this class. I will call it here in the constructor of my DB manager. So let me say, okay, this one will be private, will be inside my code. So I want to initialize instance. I just do instance from this class DB helper. I will see DB equal a new DB helpers, but this one I think will take context as instance. That's good. I'm sending context to this class so to run it. So when someone calls DB manager, I will create a new instance from that class just to run it. Now I want to get a new instance from this class also in my activity. So let me go to my activity, just in loading, I will say DB manager equal a new DB manager, just to get an instance. But this one I think take also this. There you go. So now when we create an instance from DB manager, he will go to the constructor of DB manager, and this one also create an instance from DB helper. Then DB helper will just create the database is not created table, and this I would add this semicolon inside my create table, so just to separate the execution inside the SQLite. Then also I will define here a private SQLite browser. So I will say okay, SQLite database. I will say SQL DB. You will use it with our database. Then I will try to initialize this SQL, and when I create my constructor, I'll say SQL DB ساوينا equal DB dot get writable database. So I want to write on my database. Yes, now everything is clear. It's good. Now just let me run it. So make sure if you have any problem with your database, make sure you delete the application from menu, then rerun your code again. Here we go, table is created. If I try to rerun application again, he will not tell me table is created because the database already created and the table already created. He will not call this method again. So make sure this one you write down will execute one time. So now I want to see the data inside my database. So how I could do it? I could do it in the same way that we discussed it in previous video. So okay, you have this is your package name. You could access to your file in your shell. So I would say okay, I would go to the /adb shell. Then let me run as this package. I would say ls, see I have databases. Now if I go cd to the database, I do ls, I will see this my database student. That's great. So now what if you want to take off all these database and see what we did? If I say /adb pull everything in data /data, pull this file and put them, let me put them on the folder on the desktop. Let me put them here. Yes, here you go. I will say enter. He will pulling data to my desktop file. Just the pull and the pull command in the ADB, you just say ./ADB, then you say pull. I need to pull something from the phone. You give the direction for when you want to pull. Then after the directions, I would bring everything in the file, in the data /data, that application data. I want to put them in the desktop. Here you go. Here is see my application. The one that I was interested in there's many applications, but my application name. Do you remember our application name? Our application name was that having something with Android, I think. So let me search. This is I think Android work, demo work. Yes, here you go. This is everything, and this is the database student. If I say app, I could select application from my application SQLite browser to open it, and let you see what we did. Here you go. See, here is the login. This is have ID, username, password. If see there is something for Android metadata and SQL sequence table. Don't care about this table. This Android add them to track something for the databases. Migration and other stuff. So yes, this is our table and everything done, and thank you for watching.